I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we don't have any presentations tonight, so we're going to go right into our discussion items. On that, we have some, I think you all have some printouts of some things to go over, the board calendar, board goals, and the district calendar discussion for 2026, 2027. I'd like to take that into a different order. Could we discuss number 3 first?
Sure. Thank you, Mrs. Bloom. So, last week we had a full-scale calendar committee meeting that occurred right in this room. We had representatives from across the district. We had parent representatives. It was a very good conversation. The calendar that you have in front of you and uploaded into the board packet, we had the 25-26 and the 26-27. There was not 100% consensus, but there was consensus on the calendar. When you put upwards of 35 people in a room, it's hard sometimes to agree on everything that's on a calendar, but there was general consensus here for it all. And when you take a look at the calendar, next year we have Labor Day is very late, so it's on the 7th. So we will be starting school as the proposed calendar on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, which is the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of the prior week. And then we will have the Jewish holiday later on in the month. In October, we did something a little different. I want to give, while I do this update, I want to give a special thanks to all of our staff that made Friday's in-service so amazing. We had a great day. We had our PD Palooza at the high school. Mr. Anderson was the MC. Mr. Anderson back there. Many thanks for you. And it was just a great day of learning. We had tons of sessions, all facilitated by WT, Washington Township staff, and we also had vendors in working with us. It was just a great day. But what we did next year is that we actually opened up October to be a full day in service as well. So we'll be able to do the same type of concept twice a year as opposed to just once a year. Conferences are in October. November is pretty standard. You have the NJEA convention along with Veterans Day and then Thanksgiving recess. December, we have an early dismissal PD staff in-service day along with winter break. January has students and staff returning on the 4th. It's not going to be as long a break as it was this year because it doesn't work out that way. We have Dr. Martin Luther King Day in January and another early dismissal for in-service. February is pretty standard. We have the staff in service, and we also have President's Day. March has spring break along with in-service and conferences. April has the tail end of spring break. That was really the only point of discussion that the group was divided on, but there was way more in the group that wanted to keep the traditional spring break. We did say that it's something that we can look at moving forward to see if we wanted to either change spring break or take days off backwards, but the consensus of the committee was to leave it. May has Memorial Day, which is standard for us, and then June, we have to keep the 4 half-day in-services for food services, and then we have Juneteenth. So as of right now, we build 5 days into the calendar. The last day, I believe, would be the 15th of June. So it's very similar with some small changes, allowing us to have the full day in service with everybody on the same page, which in a district like Washington Township has a lot of benefits to it. So this was the calendar that came through with consensus. It is not on for approval tonight. We'll put it on for the regular. But does anybody have any questions for me that I could answer or address? Scott?
The last day is the 23rd. That's including 5 snow days? So if you didn't have any snow days, it'd be what, the 17th?
No, so no snow days. Building 5 in would take you back to, I believe, the 15th. 1, 2, 3, because you don't count Juneteenth, 4, 5. The last day would be the 15th.
Yeah. For the convention in November, it says the convention is the 5th and 6th, but it says staff only. So the schools are closed, but the staff still comes in?
No. even though NJEA NJEA is two of the days that count towards PD here, so they do not come in for the most part. Some do, but most do not.
But they're required to come in.
They have never been required to come in.
Well, I'm just asking, why is it blue?
Oh. I think because there is the option for them to come, but they do not all come.
Okay, so the schools are open. There's just
Yes.
no students.
Yes.
I didn't realize that. I thought they were just closed.
No. No, and it's, yeah, no.
It depends where you are, because I used to come in rather than go to convention. When I
Some
was at
do.
Grenlock, a lot of people came in and worked in their
Kids
classrooms.
still come those days.
No, the
No,
children
NJEA
are
convention,
home.
school's closed.
So it's professional development days.
I think it's confusing for it to be blue, that's all.
Okay, we can take a look at the color.
Any other questions about the calendar? Okay. The next thing that we're going to discuss is the board calendar. We've discussed this many times over the last few years. What I did this time was Julie had some good information that she had on a spreadsheet for a calendar. So I took that information and put it on one sheet to compare now with the New Jersey School Board Association calendar. And it looks to me like a lot of this stuff we do. We just have never officially adopted a calendar. So what I'm hoping to do from this point is, this is a lot to look at, but could you try to look at between this week and next week? And next week, I'd like to see if we could get 4 people to get together and somehow combine these two into a calendar that we can then present to the board and look at it like it's an easy calendar. I think we have to have administration involved too, so it's something that we all can look at and feel it's easy to use and easy for the public to look at and know exactly what we're doing. Any other discussion of that or questions? Do you think between now and next week, look it over, give us suggestions, and if you'd like to do that, let me know during the next week, or, let Lori know. And then we'll put together a group of 4 to go over the calendar. And then I would like to hope that after we do that, that within the next few months, we can actually adopt a calendar and then start using it to guide our board meetings and somehow put that on our website too, so that the public has access to it, so they see what things we're doing each month that need to be done.
So this is calendar, like, suggestion for the following year?
Well, once we get it done, I'm hoping that we can do it in the next few months and have it up and running.
In March.
Excuse me? Well, that's going to be a budget retreat. So, but we'll look at it, and as I said, get administration to look at it too. I was hoping that maybe by the beginning of July, we'd have it ready to go. That would be my goal. And as far as board goals go, I think it really did help that we had somebody come in. Julie, thank you for having someone come in to guide us, because I was looking over our goals, and we really have done a lot of stuff to move them along. I'll go over what they are. Our first goal was governance and ethics. The board will develop and adhere to measurable board-level goals, district goals with clear accountability measures. This is to strengthen governance relationships through improved communication, ethics, compliance, and consistent meeting practices. Reinforce policy oversight by reinstating an active policy committee and ensuring consistent adherence to the established policies. That part, we did establish a policy committee, and we do meet every month, and we do review the policies and then share what we find through reports and with the full board. Utilize a Board of Education calendar to guide and monitor progress. Well, that's what we're trying to work on with this. So that's a good indication that we'll be meeting those goals this year. For number 2, financial stewardship, the board will improve financial literacy and transparency by ensuring all members understand the budget process and audit findings. Well, one thing we're doing is we're having a board retreat in March to work on the budget as a team. Reinstate a finance committee to enhance oversight. I need help understanding that. We have the business committee. How does that work in regards to finance? Janine, can you explain that? or anybody that,
So I'm just trying to think if we decided just to focus on different things within the business committee. Is that what
Okay.
we talked about, Scott? Like, on the finances?
Yeah, I think we discussed reviewing in the business committee, like the financial statements, making sure everybody understood any of the key changes to the financial statements and what to look for, and then that, we would read that out in the business committee report. But I also think as we do that process, maybe we could just develop like a training for all board members.
Okay.
And like we pilot it with the business committee, and then when we feel that that's good, we could roll it out to the rest of the board.
that would be great.
Sound
That
good?
That sounds good. Strengthen fiscal responsibility by improving the board's understanding of financial reports and budget processes. You're talking about, you'll probably be doing that with what you do, and establish measurable benchmarks to quantify fiscal oversight outcomes. Can you help me with that? Anybody that has more of an idea of business, what that would look like? Scott or Janine? It says establish measurable benchmarks to quantify fiscal oversight outcomes. If we don't understand it, we may not want to have it there.
Yeah, maybe we could take that to business committee. I mean, I
Okay.
think we talked about, like, as part of that review of the financial statements, like, are we running hot, right? Are we running above budget, under
Yeah.
budget, those
And-
type of things?
We could also just look back, I don't know who may have proposed the goal to school boards, and then we could talk to Lori
Okay.
too, because she helped develop
Right.
the feedback. So
Right.
I'm not sure what specific feedback or who that came from, but we can just make sure we're addressing it in the business committee
Okay,
meetings.
and that all
Yeah.
board members understand
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
okay. And then goal 3 with community leadership. The board will expand community engagement through diverse communication channels, proactive budget planning, and an increased presence at schools and community events. The first part is promote active community leadership through transparent communication, stakeholder inclusion, and presence at district functions. That's something we're really working on, is trying to get board members to attend more functions within the schools. And what we're going to do is we're going to chart that throughout the year. And when we do a report, we can let you know activities that board members attended, and you'll get an idea of how many activities we did attend, because that's an important part of being a board member, getting out there and seeing what's going on. And the schools themselves are doing a really good job of inviting us to things. I've been to more things in the last few months than I think I have in the last 3 years. I've been involved in a couple of Zoom conversations about the early childhood program. One was about our guidance program at the elementary level, what they do, what they teach each month. I've gone to National Honor Society. We were invited to Wedgwood. They had a door decorating contest, and that's only a few of the things. A lot of other people have attended things, and I'm hoping that we get to the point where we go over new business or old business, whichever, that board members share with the public what we've attended and what we've seen in the schools each month. Even tonight, if there's something you'd like to share, make sure that we do that. It says build trust within both the community, school community, and the broader Washington Township community. That needs to be ongoing. And what I think will be involved in that is number 3, which involve stakeholders in developing a 5-year strategic plan that serves as a roadmap for the district's future. We have had our first meeting for the strategic planning. We're going to continue with that, and that's not going to just be people sitting up here or people in the schools. There's going to be a chance with that. People in the community also will be involved in that. So that, to me, is a very exciting thing that we're going to be doing and should be helpful to our schools in many ways. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to say about our goals? We're not used to talking to each other. Can you tell when we're up here, we're used to being quiet. So we're going to have to work on that.
Yeah, you were mentioning about the activities. I know that Mrs. Schechter, Terry, and I attended the workshop for math literacy and language literacy, and the kids were involved, they were doing things in groups, and the parents met to get further information with how they could help their children. It was a really wonderful event, so.
Where was that, Elaine?
I'm sorry, that was at Thomas Jefferson Elementary School.
Anybody else have anything? I know Steve was a door, and Dr. Hibbs, you were both door judges, correct?
We were. Scarfed it up. It was great. Great event.
I was sick that day, and my grandchildren were upset because I couldn't go, but it looked like it was a very nice affair.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Anybody else? Okay. Let's see. School Community Relations. Gianna, do you have anything to report from the high school?
I do not have a report for this meeting. I will have one for next week.
Thank you so
Yep,
much.
thank you.
Okay, Director of Data Technology,
Pat,
registrations.
I just have one thing I wanted to add on the event stuff. I think Linda was there as well, maybe a few other people, the Pops concert, which
Oh,
was last
okay.
week. That was amazing. I mean, I'm amazed we have that many talented kids in this town. It was amazing. And not only that, the band, I mean, to have a live band there playing, like, my father-in-law was there, and I was like, what do you think of the band? He's like, oh, that's live? There's like really musicians there? It's amazing. Just all the work put that together was truly amazing.
You know, we had Mr. Zakowski and Mr. Quigliano in the pit, and then we had the parent who was on guitar. If you haven't been to a Pops concert, anyone not been, I think it's by far my favorite event that we do at all across the entire district. If you don't leave there and you want to like get in your car and play Call Me Maybe on the ride home, something's wrong with you. It is just absolutely unreal. So massive shout out to Mrs. Flynn and everyone who made that night possible.
Great job to our student representative singing in the Pops concert. She did a wonderful job.
Yeah. There were 5 board members. We went to a project graduation fundraiser a few Friday nights ago. I forgot about that. That was a fun night with lots of baskets, and some of them were very interesting baskets. Okay. That's an inside joke. All right, school community relations, we still have to hear from Mr. Castillo. He's the Director of Data Technology, Registration, and School Community Outreach. Thank you, Mr. Castillo.
Thank you. I have a few public service announcements and a few things that are going on in our district that are wonderful and coming up. Just want to let everybody know, especially for the 11th graders, March 16th, 17th, and 18th is our NJGPA adaptive. And the reason it's called adaptive because a new company called Cambium took it over. And it's an adaptive assessment that is hopefully going to prove beneficial to our students. This is a very critical requirement for our 11th grade students to ensure eligibility and graduation. And then the makeup window is the following week. But what students need to understand is that every 11th grade student needs to sit for this test in order to meet graduation requirements, and they need to pass it in order to make graduation requirements. And if they don't pass it, they have to do an alternative pathway, which would be some portfolios and things of that sort. So I can't stress enough to the people here, the people at home, how important this test is. We're asking everybody, the students, to bring a fully charged laptop. Right now, we cannot give out loaners because we need them for other students in the district. So please, families, if you have an 11th grader, make sure your child comes to school with a fully charged laptop that day. Wired headphones, we're going to provide them, but if you have headphones on, like a dollar store headphones on a regular audio jack, that would be very helpful as well. And there's prohibited items, electronic devices for both staff and students, which include cell phones, smartwatches, AirPods that are Bluetooth enabled, and even Meta glasses if you have them. And the way it's going to work this year is math is going to be tested on day 1. There's 2 sessions of 75 minutes apiece. ELA is day 2 with 2 sessions of 75 minutes apiece. And writing is on day 3, which is a 90-minute single block. And so I just want to take this opportunity because NJSLA for the rest of the district will come later in the spring, but to seize this opportunity and continue to embrace the mindset and the approach to have solidarity and a collective commitment to the success. I don't know if people are aware, but our school report card, people come to the podium sometimes and talk about our school report card, and oftentimes it's not the single denominator, but it's a major factor in how our school report card is collated, and just maximum effort. If the families can stress to their children to give maximum effort, that would go a long way in helping us navigate the test. The hoagie sale, I want to thank many of you who are at the hoagie sale. I want to thank two board members in particular, Ms. Clancy and Ms. Schechter, who were with me and Dr. Hibbs on the onion crew. That was exceptional. But I saw many of you there, and I appreciate you being there. And I believe there's going to be a presentation in the future celebrating the success and the donation of the hoagie sale. And we want the opportunity to thank those who made the event a success. It was a true honor to be part of the event and help organize it. The weather was absolutely horrendous and in the single digits, and the students did an amazing job. They even went out there in the cold trying to sell hoagies, and I can tell you we made almost $10,000 with the kids' efforts out there in the cold. So I really appreciate that. And I just want to say, you know, to live in Washington Township personally and to be part of this community that gives back constantly is an amazing privilege. And a lot of us, obviously, people in the audience listening at home, many members at the desk, our residents obviously as well, to then be a part of the organization that has the capacity to bring firefighters, police officers, first responders, town council, Board of Ed members, school administrators, teachers, parents, students, and other community members. It just kind of shows the kind of ilk we have as a town, and when we give back to our community, we are truly Township pride at its finest. So I just want to thank everybody who participated. If you got, we all made the news. I think we made 2 news networks that day. It was pretty cool. Hagen Library. Read to a therapy animal on select Thursdays at the Hagen Library. They have a SMILE program, SMILE, Silent Mentors in Literacy Education, will be at the library on February 19th and on March 5th and on March 19th. Please call the library at 856-589-3334, extension 223 to visit their website for more information. Mu Alpha Theta, on Monday, February 9th, Mr. Savarese, Executive Assistant Principal, Ms. Krasminski, the Math Supervisor, and I attended an event at the high school where WTHS proudly inducted a new group of 53 students to the Mu Alpha Theta, our National High School Math Honor Society. These students have demonstrated exceptional achievement in math. Their dedication reflects not only strong academic performance, but also curiosity, problem-solving skills, and a willingness to challenge themselves in rigorous coursework. We're incredibly proud of their accomplishments and look forward to the positive impact they will continue to make in the school community. A couple shout-outs to Ms. Reed and Ms. Bogacki and their executive cabinet of Avery Breen, Karen Chow, Josiah Carter, Gabrielle Chelnick, Jeremy Gamdutin, Carter Heil, Daniel Lee, Leonard Lee, Suzanne Malik, Maximo Maletta, and Heba Singh for organizing a great event. And another shout out to Ms. Pinder, as she was the keynote speaker. The We Are Township Leadership Podcast, big shout out to Mr. Lindstad. We have currently published 5 episodes of season 2. And the latest one features Chestnut Ridge English teacher and interactive advisor, Miss Amanda DeQuisto, and 2 of her student leaders, Connor Moffitt and Alyssa Ficanci. In the series, we explore how the adult leaders in the building help shape the students, and the students make decisions that are rooted in ethics and leadership. And we continue to film this we film this constantly, but every 2 weeks it's released, and we publicize it on WTE-TV, and also if at times when we go into executive session in the middle of a meeting or at the tail end of the meeting, Mr. Lindstedt puts that on there for people to view while they're waiting for the executive meeting to continue. So please check it out. These podcasts are about 30 minutes in length, and we're 20 episodes in, so thank you for that. Registration for preschool registration is underway, and we strongly encourage Township residents who have children who are 3 or 4 years old and will be in preschool next year to register via our online portal. As a reminder, April 15th is the pre-K lottery for families, and for questions, just contact the registration office. And now some Sunday Fun Day spotlights. February 19th, FCCLA will host a Dine and Donate at Texas Roadhouse. On Thursday, February 26th at 6:30 p.m., the Washington Township African American Culture Club will have a dinner theater to celebrate Black History Month. It's in Cafeteria CD at the high school. Mr. Giverson and his crew, or Dr. Giverson, I apologize, and his crew are hosting Bell's Cupcake Wars on March 3rd, 2026, from 6 to 8 in the high school cafeteria. And Bell's PTO is also having a Texas Roadhouse Dine and Donate on March 19th. And put this on your calendar. Township Night at the Phillies, April 28th, 2026. First pitch is at 6:40 p.m. Thank you. That concludes my announcements, Ms. Blow.
Thank you, Mr. Distilio.
I just want to thank Mike and all the staff. Like, no one really thanked you, because you can't really thank yourself. So I think you probably got there in the 4 o'clock hour with several other staff members. So thank you so very much. It really is one of the most important days that we have here. And if you haven't ever come to see the power of it, I encourage you to. Not only do you see us make, I think 3,200 hoagies by 8 a.m., which is insane, but then you can walk down the hall and you can see the banners of all the important people that we've lost over the years that this incredible fundraiser has supported, which is really a testimony to what Township is all about. Great job, Mike.
Okay. Does anybody on the board have old business to discuss?
Real quick, I just want to shout out to all the kids that worked that hoagie sale, that Helping Hands hoagie sale. I could not believe how organized they were, how busy they were, and how important it was to all of them. So I just want to shout out to all those kids.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. We now can open to the public. May I have a motion to open the meeting to the public?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, we do not have any yellow cards unless I missed any. You going to get a card, ma'am?
See the yellow cards when I came in.
No problem.
Maria?
Sure.
Okay. I'm Chris Gentili. I know many of you. I'm going to just kind of like start off with community caretaking. That's what we do. It's definitely, it's always a highlight. It's always a highlight. So what I really want to talk about tonight is really related to community caretaking. And I apologize. School kids, but you put me in front of a bunch of adults and I don't do so well. So what I wanted to do was that I wanted to really talk about the immigration issues that are happening right now, I'm here to support immigrant and minority families who may have legitimate concerns about the current policies and activities of Border Patrol and ICE in New Jersey. I understand that Ms. Kazempel, during last month's meeting, asked the superintendent of communication to families regarding ICE was planned. Since that meeting, I viewed 2 public statements from Glassboro schools on February 4th and Williamstown on February 3rd. I'm also aware of ICE activity in Linwald, I believe it was on February 11th, in which 4th and 5th graders ran from panic from bus stops when they saw masked and armed ICE agents. enter their apartment complex. I applaud the integrity of the bus driver whom, I understand, drove around the complex to ensure all the students were accounted for and safe. As a retired WTPS teacher, I'm aware of the safety protocols that were in place at least as of June of 2024, so that I know that we have protocols within our building in terms of somebody coming to the door and asking for access. Some of my questions are intended to kind of be rhetorical, as an opportunity for the Board of Education and Administration to think about how it'll play out when ICE agents do come to Washington Township area and to our surrounding towns more frequently and begin to detain our neighbors, coaches, parents, business owners, and friends. I want to ask if the board or Dr. Hibbs have been in contact with county superintendent and county for county guidance to put statements out to reinforce the idea that schools are a safe haven for our schools. And what are some of the specific policies that we have in place to protect our students that maybe are different than state or county legislation? Can you elaborate to the public on what steps are in place should an ICE agent or Border Patrol person come to the school and request entry? Is the protocol county, state, local? I don't know. Is there a plan? And I'm not asking for what the plans are because I realize for some of these things that safety is utmost important for our staff as well as our students, and you want to keep some things kind of close to the chest so that the safety plan works. But is there a plan to monitor the bus stops where sensitive areas have, wait a minute, is there a plan to monitor the bus stops when sensitive areas in that area, or that geographic area, oh God, my notes, I'm sorry. So basically, is there our bus stop, do you have a plan for the bus stops for the bus drivers? Are the township bus drivers and the private bus drivers, because some of our kids go on private buses, do they have the same plan?
Thank you, Mrs. Gentili.
Okay,
I have
thank
to.
No, that's fine.
You
That's
can
fine.
come
And
up
it's
if you want
basically-
to for the next,
No, that's basically what I wanted to say, and
and hopefully we can get you some answers.
Yes,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Dr. Hibbs?
Hi, how are you? I'm going to address probably some of the things that I can right now. So we definitely put something out to staff and we put something out to the community. So we absolutely were in tandem with that. So yes, we have been in contact with the executive county superintendent, but the guidance has come from the Department of Education. So the Department of Ed gave us very detailed guidance on what we should and should not do. So we took that and turned that into a host of things. So we met as an admin team and talked about our specific plan of action and what would happen if ICE ever visited. We have everything from a 2-page quick reference guide. We did communication to families. All of the principals have dates to train their staff and have conversations, including transportation for sure. We absolutely emailed the staff. I made guidance for the administration to speak to the staff. We did a compliance crosswalk with what we are doing as opposed to what just the guidance was, and we went above that in certain areas. And we had an overall manual. So long and short, no one will ever get into our buildings without a judicially signed warrant. That's the main things. They can also claim exigent circumstances as well, and we're not allowed to disobey that, or we could get arrested. But what we are being told is that we will have the opportunity to see the person coming, and that all of our staff have been trained that no one should be allowed into the building. If anyone does come, the first phone call goes to one of our supervisor of security, and then myself, and then I will have a conversation with Nick here to talk about, what documentation is there. So we have a plan in place for this. We have to comply with federal agents as long as they have the correct information. If they do not have the correct information, then no one will be entering our buildings, for sure. The bus stop to be honest with you, we don't have people that can monitor bus stops, but we have had conversations with our head of transportation, who has then had conversations with our transportation department about what our plans are. So I don't know that there's anyone that could physically monitor bus stops. There's just not capacity to do that. And we do have plans in place to support children if anything were to happen, both monetarily, emotionally, and as best we can. So I think we really touched all of our bases here, and we take this very seriously. We believe that kids all should have a safe spot to learn, and they have the ability to do so. We will protect them in our buildings. So I think that's what I can say.
Okay, thank you.
Safe to say we have policies for dealing with all law enforcement, including our hardworking federal law enforcement as well, right?
Without a doubt. Yeah. And we sign the annual MOA every year that does that. Yep.
Okay, seeing no more cards here, may I have a motion to close the meeting to the public?
So moved.
Second? Okay, all in favor? Okay, now we're going to go over some committee reports that we have. We're going to start with our policy committee, which would be Mrs. Clancy.
Okay, we met on the 19th, and in attendance was Mrs. Blome, myself, Mrs. Wechter, Dr. Hibbs, Mr. DeCilio, and Mrs. Grimaldi. And we discussed 3 policies. The first reading policy was our policy on sexual harassment. This policy will replace other policies that will then be abolished. When approved, it will be sent to staff and principals, who will provide the new policy to staff for a sign-off. We also discussed our policies on homeschooling and athletic competition. Homeschool students will now be allowed to participate in sports grades 9 through 12 when they follow our procedures, which will include providing proof of residency. Thank you.
Okay, any questions on the policy committee?
I just have a question. For the ones that are for first reading, what was changed? What were the changes to the sexual harassment? I don't see like cross-outs or anything like that.
Yep. So,
I'm in it right now.
yeah, so I think we fleshed that out in the confidential. The sexual harassment policy is brand new because it collapsed several policies into one, which is why you're not going to see strikeouts. So what you'll see is that as a first read, it basically takes, I think, Title VII and then Title IX. There are 2 different types of investigations that have to occur depending on the situation. I will consult with Nick to make sure we're doing the right investigation. And then what you'll see is, as the second read comes, you'll see the abolishment of a few other policies because it all consolidated into one. Of course.
Thank you.
I have a question. What changes were made to policy 1220? I don't believe I was here last meeting, so.
1221, 1 second, let me get back. I was writing down people for you.
Was that the superintendent?
Is that the superintendent one?
I'm not.
Yes.
Yeah, that came directly from Strauss-Esme changes, and I think the only change that the board weighed in on there that wasn't a Strauss-Esme change was the fact that they were going to, if they had a new superintendent search, they would delineate the criteria. So all Strauss-Esme changes, no alterations by anybody administratively, and the board chose the only if-then in the policy.
All right.
And actually, there were suggestions in the policy that you could use when you interview your superintendent. So most likely, you might start with that, choose some of them, and maybe then fine-tune it for the district, but there were some listed in the policy that you
Okay.
could choose from.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay, personnel.
All right. So I was not able to make the last Personnel Committee meeting due to professional obligations, but I do have some notes here that were provided to me by Dr. Hibbs. The administrators in attendance were, the meeting took place on 2/9 at approximately 6 p.m. The administrators in attendance were Mrs. Wechter, Mrs. Miller, Dr. Hibbs, and Mrs. Gerber. Board members in attendance, Mrs. Baker, Mrs. Hartong, Mrs. Schechter, and Mr. Ross. What we discussed were necessary positions, plans for hiring certain positions, and other topics that unfortunately I can't, I'm not at liberty to discuss. Other confidential topics? That's what you, okay, all right. Thank you. End of report.
Thank you. Okay, the next would be IA SAC. Mrs. Hartong isn't here. Is someone going to cover that for her, or shall we have it next week?
If you give me 2 secs, I'll pull up the minutes.
Okay. Okay,
Can we do it? Is that okay?
sure.
Okay. So we discussed, the meeting happened on Tuesday, February 10th. The committee members were Mrs. Hartong as chair. She was absent. Mrs. Bloom, Mrs. Clancy, myself, Mrs. Miller, Mrs. Gerber, Ms. Grimaldi, and Mr. Distilio. Under Human Resources, we talked about some tutoring services that were happens, and we talked about some items that are on the agenda tonight for those tutoring services. We talked about the ESEA amendment and the approval to accept the carryover funds. We talked about the very gracious donation the Rotary will be making on this agenda for donating books, book markers, and workbooks to our third grade students. We have to always approve and accept donations such as these. We talked about the concept of basic skills instruction because it was raised at one of the last board meetings. Mr. Distilio talked about his incredible leadership podcast with the students and the staff. We also talked about the Teen Summit, which is coming up on the 27th of March. Ms. Grimaldi talked about the importance of National School Counseling Week. We also discussed the concept of ESL positions. We have 2 positions that are open right now that are going to be filled in the one next week and then one in the coming weeks/months because 2 of our 3 positions are open. And then I think we finished the conversation with our incredible PD Palooza conversation. So all of our pre-K through grade 12 teachers participated in a full day in service on Friday the 13th. And it had a variety of options. Staff could pick their experiences to meet their professional needs. And our staff and presenters were absolutely amazing. Special thanks to everybody who made it an incredible day. That's
Okay.
the minutes.
Thank you.
course.
And I know at that, there were a lot of our own staff who did the presentations. I have a daughter that attended and said it was a very well-run and interesting and informative day for the teachers. So that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, business, if that would be Scott.
Yeah, all right. Let's talk business. So we met on February 10th, was myself, Pat, and Terry as board members, Janine and Dr. Hibbs. We also had the auditor, Dave McNally, who's our external auditor, come to present the 24-25 audit report. So topics we discussed, we talked through the energy savings plan update that is progressing along. Janine informed us of the timeline for financing, so that's getting ready to go out shortly. So keep praying for interest rates to drop, because every time the interest rates drop, we get more money to use towards projects. So this hopefully is going to be millions and millions, probably 20+ million that we'll get to use to the savings to fund capital projects like boilers and air conditioning units and all that good stuff that otherwise we would not be able to afford. So let's hope those rates keep dropping. We discussed getting an update on the solar project from the DCO Energy at the upcoming meeting, because the solar has important milestones and timelines, just because a lot of the solar incentives are all going away. So we got this snuck in under the wire, so it's important that we stay on the timeline for that. And then we discussed the next steps, which is finalizing the financing and then the projects list. So once we have the financing, we'll know how much money we have, and we'll work with the engineer to come up with how best to use those funds to the benefit of the district. We talked through the building assessment and long-range facilities plan update there. Janine was working with the engineer to review our capital project list and do an assessment of all our buildings to ensure that it's properly updated. That'll be used to complete the long-range facilities plan major update, and it'll need to get completed soon. It's done every 5 years, but right now we're waiting on the state to finalize the new software that will need to be used for that. And that'll be used as input for future budgeting as well. We went through budget planning items and the budget calendar. We discussed the timeline of the budget due to the governor's budget address being pushed back to March 10th. and we expect to get our state aid figures on March 12th. So we also discussed talking points for an upcoming meeting with legislators, to hopefully have them kind of lobby on our behalf. And we also discussed timeline for certain budget project and timing of our business committee meetings. We discussed moving the budget retreat, which was originally scheduled on March 8th to March 15th, because we will not have our state aid figures until March 12th. And we agreed to poll the board members to see if they'd be available for that. And I don't know, Janine, were we able to poll or have Lori poll the board members for, not yet? Okay. So if everybody can look at your calendars, board members, we're shooting for March 15th as the retreat, because then we'll have state aid and we'll have a better idea of what it's going to look like. Okay. Okay, then we had the 24-25 audit. So the auditor was there. This was our audit close meeting. So every time you have an audit, this is an independent CPA firm that comes in and looks at all our financial statements, and they do an audit in accordance with prescribed procedures, and they give us their external audit opinion. The auditor presented the opinion. We received the unmodified opinion, which is the best opinion that you can get, and there were no findings in the report. So great job to Janine and her team on that.
Go team.
Yeah. The auditor also said that the findings from the previous year audit were tested to ensure that they were closed, and those were all closed. And then we reviewed main financial categories such as surplus, and we discussed with them the need to be careful budgeting any excess that may exist so that we don't create an unsustainable hole. So for instance, if you have excess and you spend that on a one-time project, that's a good use of those funds. If you start spending on things that are going to be reoccurring, you can create a hole for your following year, because you're not necessarily going to have that excess again next year to fund that. So we talked through that. And the audit will be accepted by the board next week. I think it'll be on the agenda. Right, Ginny? Yeah, okay, be on for next week. Yep. All right. We had some purchasing items. We talked through 2 contract renewals that will be presented for approval later this month. They're just bid renewals. And then we went through rental rates, which is policy 7510. Basically, there's a committee and the administration is working on updating the fee schedule for rental of the facilities. Like if you wanted to rent out Playhouse or the RPVAC or cafeteria, any of those things, you can rent those things out, and there's a published rate schedule, which we're not charging enough. So those will be getting updated here shortly. And we're doing comparison work with other facilities around the county. We talked through the ESEA amendment and the process for that annual grant acceptance. And then we talked through the preschool lease. So this one's pretty exciting as well. The annual lease agreement for classroom space and the process for legal review, and it will be presented to their board for approval at the upcoming meeting. We talked through some suggested language to consider within the lease to protect the district a little bit. And this lease continues to enable the expansion of our preschool program to, I think we're at the full population now, which is absolutely amazing. And that's leveraging PEA grant funds, which is a huge benefit to the taxpayers in this district. So to be able to say we're at full population is awesome. And I know people might question, like, why are we leasing buildings in Pittman? You can't use PA grant money to build another building. So, and you can use it for leasing, you can use it for lease improvements, but there's very specific requirements on what type of space you can use. So the ability that we're able to find and lease buildings to use without having to fund any capital project for it, it's a huge benefit. So it might be a little inconvenient to get over to Pittman, but it's much better than us laying out our own town's money to fund the program. So, and that is all.
Okay, anything else with business?
Yeah, I had a question on, excuse me, on the rates, the rental rates. Nobody's grandfathered in, right? So people who currently rent will pay the increased. The organizations that currently rent will have the same increase. We're not locking anyone into a specific rate, correct?
Only if they had a contract, right? I mean, their current contract will be honored, but I think those renew every year, right, Ginny?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everyone's getting the rate increase
Moving
across the
forward,
board?
Yeah, once it's approved, moving forward, everyone will pay the new rates.
All current and moving forward?
Yeah.
When their
If there's a
contract
contract,
renews.
yes.
All right, that's it, thank you.
As far as our preschool goes, when we were at that meeting, is there still a lottery? I think Mr. DeStilio talked about that. Could you explain that to the public?
Yeah, I think we're going to have several different lotteries per location.
Okay.
Yeah, and yes, so yes. And to piggyback on Scott, you know, over the course of the last 2 years, just wrap your head around the fact that we opened up almost 400 spots for Township pre-K kids. And just think about what that does for the community and how amazing it is. And not many, we really should be the poster child, let me change that, we should be the poster child for what PEA should be, because we literally, and they're saying, Scott, that we're like right there on our universe. Mrs. Gerber feels we are. They're trying to argue back. So either way, we are literally right there. And instead of just looking for opportunities that are small and they're great to work with providers, you know, we are opening up 15, 16 classrooms at Walls next year. So it's going to be just tremendous for Township.
Also jobs, right? I mean, that's opening up new jobs, and also hopefully going to see test scores of the elementary go up because the kids are getting more education at elementary level or preschool level, so it's great.
Our pre-K program is truly outstanding.
Okay. Next is New Jersey School Board Association. That's Ms. Kazempel. We're lucky because not only is she our rep, she's very involved in that organization beyond just being our rep.
Thank you, Pat. I didn't attend any meetings for the past month that weren't Zoom. Just so everyone knows. I barely attended my own son's athletic events just due to illness. But luckily, the 2 meetings that I'm involved with were Zoom. So I can give you the key takeaways. First was the Board of Directors meeting. This is for the New Jersey School Boards Association Board of Directors. So it's a couple people from each county and people that represent. You can find it on the New Jersey School Board's website, but it's all different types of representatives, and we serve like this as a board to New Jersey School Board. So the updates there were just that they had already met. I think New Jersey School Boards was, I wrote down the first organization that met with some of the new administration. So Assemblywoman Reynolds Jackson and Senator Gopal will remain as education chairs of their respective legislative branches. Jonathan Pushman, who's the Senior Director of Advocacy, is like the political person for NJSBA, participated in something called Delivering a Strong Education for New Jersey Children. It's a new action team that the governor created, and New Jersey School Boards is, you know, very involved in that, which is fantastic. The winter edition of something called Capital Watch, which board members and the public can find on the New Jersey School Board's website. It's a way of tracking bills that move through related to education. And if you click on the Names to Know section, you'll find an introduction to the new Commissioner of Education and the leadership team related to the new legislative session. They called this 2 new partnerships, but we had a partnership, I thought, with Future Ready Schools for years. But this says that they have 2 new strategic partnerships. One is with Future Ready New Jersey Coalition, which is to help more residents achieve post-secondary degrees and credentials and provide employers with a more educated, skilled workforce. The second is with the New Jersey Education and Technology Association, NJETA. That's a professional membership organization dedicated to supporting the wide range of school technology professionals across the state, which is great, you know, for school districts, because that means that those people will be more educated and certified and can take us into the world of AI, I suppose. There are a couple training programs coming up that NJSBA is offering. I know you guys get all the emails, but there's one February 19th, which is a lead masterclass. It's a leadership type course if you're interested in becoming a board leader. There's the Women's Conference. I know Terry and I are attending that. It's March 20th, the 3rd annual Women's Leadership Conference. And then they're having a school public relations forum, which I think would be great for anyone in the district that touches communications to attend, and that's April 24th. It's titled The PR Productivity Lab, Maximizing Impact with Minimal Time, and implied there, minimal staff. and they're planning for workshops. So that was the one event that I attended, which was, again, sort of like just the board, what their plan is for the year. And then that was in January. And then the second event was February 7th. That was our county association leadership meeting, and that's where all of the county presidents and vice presidents serve there. And I'm one of the reps from that on the board of directors, if that makes sense. But so the county association leadership met, and we had Daniel Harris, who's the chief of staff for, can't think of his name right now, Coughlin, for Coughlin's office, and he did a presentation called Advocacy Tips from the Inside, which is basically how to have a good relationship with your legislators and leverage your relationship with your legislators, which we already do really well in Washington Township. And I think we settled on the date of March 6th to meet with them regarding the budget, but they can only do a Zoom, so we'll be setting that Zoom up. I have it on my to-do list. I'm sorry, Janine, just because I've been sick, I didn't follow up with you about setting that up. But he gave a lot of tips of how you can not just meet these people and work with them, but advocate for your district and kind of keep them posted. We have a good relationship with our legislators, so that wasn't really like an issue for us. So that was the recap there. Thank you. Any questions?
And I know that some of us did a Zoom in the last few weeks for the Camden County, Gloucester County annual meeting to find out more about the budget and how the state determines who gets what funds in the budget. So that was an interesting thing to do too. Anybody else?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting, the moderator for the school funding formula is our neighbor in Pittman, so I thought that was a great connection, that it's a great resource that she's the NJSBA and she's so close, yeah.
She's very knowledgeable too.
Her
very
presentation was
knowledgeable.
very
Yes.
informative, so.
She had sold out. You couldn't get into her workshop conference. But I'm like, April, we were all standing outside because you couldn't even get there quickly enough to get in. It was packed. She's like, I didn't think so many people were going to come. But we're lucky to have her right next door, and we have a good relationship with Pittman, so. I know she watches our meetings, so shout out, April.
Thank you, April. Okay, our last is our Strategic Planning Committee. Ms. Kazempo is the chairperson of that. We had our first meeting, which was really exciting to get that off the ground and moving a little bit.
Sure, you guys have the minutes. What I'll tell for the public is that we've realized that we don't have to put out an RFP for this, because you only have to put out a request for proposals if it's above bid threshold, which is $18,500, and there's no way that any of us wanted to spend more than that on a strategic plan. So we decided that we did not have to go through that process. Bid threshold was $53,000, and the previous plan costs $18,500. So that's why we're like, there's no way we're going to spend $53,000. We hope we don't even spend as much as we did with the previous plan. We reviewed the previous plan, and we kind of talked about the positives and negatives of that plan and what we want going forward, which is something sustainable, a plan that includes all stakeholders, and that where we can return back to it and also have whoever helps us write it, help us implement it, help the district implement it. So Dr. Hibbs suggested that we wait until the end of budget season. Everyone agreed with that wholeheartedly, that would need to wait. And so the business office reached out to New Jersey school boards. They do strategic plans, and also Dr. Tracy Severns, who came to speak through New Jersey school boards to us in November. She mentioned at that meeting that she does strategic planning. So I know all the administrators know Dr. Severns. She's a lovely woman, and I'm going to speak to her on Friday about, she just kind of wanted a little bit more information about the need. So I'm going to just convey to her what the committee, I just set that meeting up with her today, convey with her what the committee kind of wants, and then we'll have estimates from the two of them and we can move forward. But that's kind of on ice until budget season is over. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion of that or questions?
Great job.
Okay. Under the report of the superintendent, we need a motion and a second to approve the report of the superintendent, item 1. First, we'll have a discussion. Anybody? You want to
So
have
moved.
the motion? Motion. Okay, discussion. Anybody have any discussion on that?
I had a question, but I can't ask it now, so I'm just going to abstain on the one that I didn't have a chance to ask my
Okay,
question on.
thank you. Thank
That's
you.
why I'll be abstaining.
Okay. Roll call?
Ms. Kazemple?
Yes.
Mr. LaLiberty?
Abstain on number 2, yes to the rest.
Mr. Ross?
Yes.
Mrs. Schechter?
Yes.
Mr. Serrano?
Yes.
Mrs. Clancy?
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom?
Yes. Okay, the motion carried. All right, under instructional affairs, we don't have anything right now. Under policy, I need a motion and a second to approve policy items 1 through 5.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all discussion? Anybody have a discussion? I think we've talked about them earlier. Okay, roll call? Do you have a question?
I guess just discussion. So on the, and I appreciate you getting me the answers to my questions.
Yeah.
But just to kind of, I guess, continue that conversation. So on the homeschooling athletic participation, we would be ensuring residency, we'd be doing all those checks to make sure that they're actually residents and that they'd be eligible for the program.
Yeah, same thing we would do for every other child, yes. The question that you raised, I think it would be disparate to what we would do for every other kid,
Yeah.
which I think they could probably claim would be a lack of equity if we would do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so everything registration, we are certainly, they would have to show the age of the child. So everything registration related, we would go through. They would also have to deliver the content, the grades, sign a statement of assurance. They'd be provided the code of conduct. So everything that would apply to a enrolled child would apply to them, but they would not be enrolled. So they, you know, the same rules apply.
Yeah.
You get into a fight, same consequences.
Same discipline.
Yeah.
So the code of conduct would apply to them when they're participating in this sport.
100%.
Cool.
And then honestly, if we had a child who he or she could not tend to behave themselves, then I think that privilege could just simply be removed.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions or discussion of that? Okay, roll call?
Mr. LaLiberty?
Yes.
Mr. Ross?
Yes.
Mrs. Schechter?
Yes.
Mr. Serrano?
Yes.
Mrs. Clancy?
Yes.
Ms. Kazempo?
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom?
Yes. Motion carried. All right, the motion carried. We do not have anything under student activities, communications. We do not have anything under negotiations. Under human resources, I need a motion and a second to approve the human resource items 1 through 16.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, discussion.
Yeah, I have a question on number 2. We're creating a position?
We are, but we're also not filling a position as in the confidential.
Okay,
Even Steven, not costing anymore.
okay. And this is, what's the reason for this position creation?
Because it would allow the HR office to be fully confidential. As
Okay.
opposed to not.
And they're not right now,
No.
without the position?
Yes.
Okay.
Happy to have a,
Yeah, I want to
happy to
before I...
explain
I'm gonna-
that to you off grid.
Yeah, I'm going to abstain from that one. And the second question I have is for number 14. That is paid for with PEA grant money, correct? Kendall?
Can you see that, the position, Janine? It's going to be, it's a teacher assistant at Kindle, so I'm going to assume yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a grant account number. It's a grant account number there.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, roll call?
Mr. Ross?
Yes.
Mrs. Schechter?
Yes.
Mr. Serrano?
Abstain on number 2, yes to the rest.
Mrs. Clancy?
Yes.
Mrs. Hartong? Oh, excuse me, she's not here. That's right. Ms. Kazempo?
Yes.
Mr. LaLiberty?
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay, before we go on, Under Human Resources, we hired a new science supervisor. Her name is Jillian Barnes. I believe she's here. Hello, Jillian. We welcome you to your position, and thank you for coming to the meeting. Congratulations.
Yeah, the students will miss all the singing and dancing.
Okay, under Finance and Facilities, can I have a motion and a second to approve Finance and Facilities items 1 through 3?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call?
Mrs. Schechter?
Yes.
Mr. Serrano?
Yes.
Mrs. Clancy?
Yes?
Ms. Kazempel?
Yes.
Mr. LaLiberty?
Yes.
Mr. Ross?
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, that motion carried. We have nothing under special education tonight. Under new business, we were going to talk about events that we've attended, but all of us, I think, basically already did that, unless there's anything that we missed. Is there any new business? Under new
Yeah,
business?
one question on shared services. Have we had any meetings with town council? Any further meetings to discuss any sort of shared services MOA?
So we did have a meeting set, and it had to emergency be had to be canceled and rescheduled. So we're in the process of rescheduling.
Anyone else? Okay. Do we have a school liaison update? Is that something? It's down there, school. Oh, we don't have to report on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we won't be going further. I think we've talked about all of that tonight. We did it out of order. Okay, we're open to the public again, but I do not see any cards. May I have a motion to open to the meeting to the public?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Motion carries, all in favor. And is there anyone, is there anyone who has a card? This is very strange at our meetings.
I move to close to the public.
Are you sure? Just one card.
Pat, just accept the blessing.
One card. Okay, so we are going to, we're going to close, but I think we need to go back into executive. Close first, okay.
But no action, right? We don't expect to take any
No,
action?
no. Okay, motion to close to the public. Can I have a motion?
Second?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now,
I move to go back to executive.
okay. And then we need somebody second it, okay. All in favor? Aye. Okay, resolved that pursuant to Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, the public shall be excluded from that portion of the meeting involving the discussion of some of these items, maybe personnel, maybe attorney-client privilege, possibly legal matters. Further resolved that discussion of such matter in executive session can be disclosed to the public if any is taken by the board, either at the resumption of the public session, at the conclusion of the executive session, or at the public session at some later date. The executive session will last approximately no more than 30 minutes, we hope. No action will be taken. We just have some things that we didn't finish before you all arrive that we need to finish up on, and we're going to do that now. All right. So thank you for coming out. If you want to wait out there and come back, feel free.